Hi everyone, I'm Joe. Today it's time for me to do something rather unusual on my channel and rare, and that is a book tag. In particular today I am going to be doing the Buddy Read tag. This was created by Noah, whose channel is Everyone Who Reads It Must Converse, and I was tagged by my favourite booktuber, Rachel, known as Canadian Booktube. I will link both their channels in the description box below, of course. Now the idea of this tag is obviously to get you to essentially talk about everything related to buddy reads, which is basically two or more people essentially bouncing ideas off each other and discussing a book and everything that goes along with it. And without further delay, I'll get straight into them. And there are 9 questions or prompts in total. So the first question is accountability. Do you like buddy reads? And I would say definitely yes, with the right person. Buddy reads where you bounce ideas back and forwards. For example, I personally have only ever done buddy reads, as far as I'm aware, through direct messages on Twitter, but you use whatever platform works for you, to be really fun and really interesting and beneficial, because the books that I've chosen have always been ones that have really led to some interesting discussion, because when you buddy read a book, obviously each person is coming at the book from a different perspective. So I will have a different opinion than the other person. So if there's something I don't quite get or that is problematic for me, I'll say so, and then the other person will comment on it. That may well help, or we can both be puzzled together over it. It depends on the situation. And sending messages back and forth and bouncing off each other really does work well and leads to some really interesting ideas, and frankly can really improve a book, or at the least make it readable, because some of the books I've buddy read, frankly I may not have actually finished if I'd been reading them purely by myself, but during the buddy read it really helps to sort of keep the focus up and really works extremely well indeed. The second question is sharing. Is there an ideal sized group for buddy read? And I would say for other people I do not know. For myself I would personally say 2, because I've never done a buddy read with a larger group. I've done group reads, but that's more open anyway. So to me, a buddy read is just me and one other person, and we just literally agree, right, we'll read 1 chapter or 2 chapters per, by this point in the week. Say midweek we'll have read the first 3 chapters. Then we'll send each other messages, back and forwards, talk about it. By the weekend we'll have read the next 3 chapters. Again, we'll send messages back and forwards and discuss things. And that's how I've always done buddy reads, and it generally works extremely well. And so yes, 2 is, it just seems a natural number for buddy read. After all, if you get too many people, it starts getting more complicated, because you've got to wait for everybody to start finishing what you're meant to be reading. 2, you can pretty easily cope with getting what you need to be read actually read, which is convenient. The third question is duration. Are shorter or longer works better for buddy read? And I would say for this, there's no real minimum or maximum limit as such, although I would say that anything less than really short, like a really small book, less than about 100 pages, wouldn't really be effective, or maybe 150 pages, because frankly by the time you actually get into talking about the book, well, frankly you'd be nearly finished it, because by 150 pages you'd buddy read that in a couple of sessions and forth. So you need a book that you can get into, but on the reverse of that, if the book is quite large, as in say 550 pages, 600 or above, that's starting to get more complex, because by that point you've got to keep your motivation up and you've got to keep the schedule up as well. You don't want to start real life, if you can, affect the buddy read, because otherwise it just doesn't work. So it's, yeah, I would say a more medium length, say 400 pages is pretty decent to me. 300 to 500, somewhere in that range, seems to work fairly well for the most part, regardless of what type of book it is as well. The next one is community. There are many types of readers. share a meeting of minds. For this, I am going to pick somebody I've already mentioned, and that is Rachel known as Cagnardi on BookTube. I've buddy read lots of books with Rachel over the years, as you would have guessed, and when me and Rachel buddy read things, we really work together well, because there are things that I almost always might have not get in the same way as Rachel, and there'll be things that she won't quite get in the same way as me. So by sending each other our thoughts, we sort of work together really well and really do benefit. We've talked about this actually often when after we've finished a book, and we feel as though we both benefit from reading certain books together, and it's why we keep buddy reading things time after time. So Rachel is definitely my sort of one of my ideal buddy read partners. Next is perspective. There are many types of readers, share a difference in perspective. Now this one's tricky, because say a difference makes it sound as though you're going to almost argue or get very really not agree on a book. But for this, I'm going to say Shannon from That Sopo comes to mind. I've only buddy read, I think, 2 books from Shannon, and I wouldn't say we argue or anything like that, obviously we don't, but the way she reads the books and the thoughts that she has when discussing them is different from mine. I think I tend to be focused on, I can't describe how exactly, but I'm focused on slightly different areas when I'm reading, and Shannon focuses on different areas for me. So when we're sending each other thoughts, we both actually are like, oh really, you thought of that? It didn't occur to me. So we both thinking of things that the other didn't, and as a result we both actually sort of spoiling each other when we actually do a buddy read. And indeed I would like to buddy read again with Shannon, because that sort of element of surprise is really quite interesting and really does work out well. 6 is challenges. Share a private or public challenge to read out of your comfort zone. Now I haven't ever really done any sort of purposeful focus where I'm trying to force the issue, but I would say if it was, I would say a classic. I mean, basically buddy reading a classic with somebody would be interesting to say the least. Or it would also be extremely rare, because most people I know would probably not be that mad on the classics, frankly, because a lot of them are science fiction and fantasy people, although there are definitely classic people there. But classics I don't get. I've tried reading classics over the years. Every few years I'll read another, and every time I just don't see the appeal, and I don't see what the author's trying to get at. Frankly, a lot of classics I've read, the writing style I do not like most of the time. So the thought of doing a buddy read of a book where I don't like the writing style, yeah, it's problematic to say the least. But I wouldn't say I'd never try it. It's just, it needs to be the right person at the right time, and the right book, frankly. So yeah, it's a maybe. We'll see in time. The 7th prompt is events. What is your favourite reading event and why? For this I haven't got one, because I almost never do reading events. However, the one that may well be my favourite reading event, other than when I can actually find a take part in it, because I keep not having any books to read when it happens, is one run by a friend of mine, Raya, and that is the Translator-thon. Now, Raya's run this for a couple of years. Every time I keep saying that I will take part in it, and every time when she actually does the Translator-thon, unfortunately I've read all the translated books I happen to have at that moment a few months before. So hopefully, and there will be one in the fairly near future, I will actually be able to not read some of the translated fiction I've got and save them for that, and then I can actually take part finally, because it would be nice to actually have a book to read during it rather than reading them all months before. Kind of defeats the purpose, frankly. So hopefully I manage to take part in that. The 8th is a fun one, and that is Can't Stop. A booktuber you have buddy read the most with. And this is really blatantly obvious. You'll be able to guess this already, but it is Rachel known as Cagnardi on BookTube. Now, Rachel may not be aware of how many books we've actually buddy read together. I think actually she'll be surprised, because I went through my Goodreads list and checked how many books we've buddy read. And we've buddy read at least 20 books together. I mean, I've known Rachel since January 2015. By this point, so we've known each other over 7 years. And we've buddy read a lot, blatantly. I mean, frankly, like I said in relation to the question earlier, me and Rachel just sort of seem to sort of get each other and understand each other, and with regards to when we have conversations about books. So buddy reads work really well for the two of us. We seem to just bounce off each other well, and we will definitely do more buddy reads. I mean, we've actually got one planned at the moment for the near future, so we'll probably do at least 2 more this year. Won't be surprised. So yeah, it's definitely and easily Rachel for that question. The 9th and final prompt is: won't stop a booktuber you haven't but want to buddy read with. And for this, I'm going to say another person that I've already mentioned earlier, and that is Raya. I've done a group read with Raya, known as a Book Finch on BookTube, but I've never actually done a buddy read with, unless I'm greatly mistaken, which is a shame, because you know, when me and Raya have done a few live shows together and we've done group reads together, you know, we always seem to bounce ideas off each other, and our ideas seem to, you know, spark off each other quite well. So hopefully at some point we can actually do a buddy read, and you know, our ideas will really work together well, and we'll really enjoy a book together, and you know, really have some interesting discussion about it. And with that said, that is it for this video. So all the people I mentioned, as well as links to all of my social medias, can be found in the description box below. If you want to know anything else about any of these questions, or want, you know, me to go into more detail, then please leave a comment and we can have a discussion there. And with that said, that is it for this video. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you another day. Bye for now.